Hey, what's up? Today I'm going to explore taking a pattern that I have here comprised of a few loops and changing it into another pattern and kind of chopping up and slicing those loops to see what we can come up with. The loops are arranged in a fairly standard manner in our first pattern, and I'm just going to play that for you to give you an idea of what we're working with. These loops are from the Bath's Splice sample pack. Super rad. Definitely recommend you check it out. And I've also used song mode actually to create a little build that you can hear. So that's kind of like an alternate intro to the song. I just wanted to show you. We're not going to mess around with that though. We're going to play around with pattern number 2, where I've created a copy of this. So we only really have a few elements here. We have this drum loop, this synth loop, this sort of floaty ambient pad, I think is really pretty. And you can see I've got 3 pages, and I've really just treated these as one-shots, and it sounds like a complete disaster if you play them all out of sync. One thing I did with the drum pattern is I created some reverse little stutter effects at the end of that pattern. And then what else do we have? And then we have this little thing here, this little pattern, again, just one loop through. So we're going to take all that and we're going to mess with it. And let's start with this, because I really like starting with melody and having that inform the percussion. So I want to kind of put down 4 trigs on each step and then parameter lock them. And then we're going to copy what we come up with on this first page and apply it to the second pages. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible and just kind of show you my workflow when I approach songs like this by breaking up and chopping and slicing loops on the Digitakt. And we're going to go to our waveform on the source page. I kind of like that. It's a little glitchy. I like. And I'm kind of just randomly selecting points and experimenting here. I like that. Let's get this a little more finely tuned. Let's nudge this a little bit instead of worrying about the exact start point. Maybe you nudged it a little too much. All right, I think that sounds good. So what I'm going to do is copy this trig and paste it to my 5s, copy this trig and paste it to my 9s, and then copy this trig and paste it to my 13s. Make sure that all translates. So there's a bit of a transient from the chop there, but I'm going to leave it because it's going to be covered up by percussion. We're just kind of playing around with this as a sketch pad. Let's mess with percussion. I'm going to do something interesting here, and I'm going to pan this. And I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to put a totally different loop on trig 2, and it sounds like we have a copy of that right now. All right, so I like this one. So we're gonna select that. And then I'm gonna just put a trig down, make sure we're held. We're gonna overdrive it a little bit. Okay, and it looks like it ends. So we're gonna place another trig there. Cool. Those sound kind of cool together. And you know what I'm gonna do is actually adjust our delay and turn it up on this track. Except I'm gonna put it to the left. So we got a cool stereo effect there. Know what I'm gonna do though? On this track, I'm actually gonna turn the hold way down. So we just get that, and in the background, we'll have this. So it'll sound like, and then I'll kind of go with the start-stop glitchiness of the way we chop the sample. So in order to get that to translate, I'm going to put trigs down on my quarter notes. And play it back with the rest of my beat. So I think that's pretty cool, right? And then with our synth, I might actually take this and put some reverb on it. Gonna get it to float a little. Nah, I don't want any delay. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Let's keep playing around with these elements here. So I've just looped this all the way through, but what I'm gonna do here is something a little different. I'm going to put down trigs on every step, and let me mute everything else. And let's get my start time. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an LFO play around with the start time. And I want it to be kind of random. And I want there to be some nice reverb. Let's crunch it up a bit. So let's see what this sounds like with our main synth sample. And then our percussion comes in. So I think this is kind of cool. And then we have this nice floaty pad. And since this is on our left side, part of me wants to do something similar with this, but put it on the right. Yeah, let's play around with that. So we're not really adding much here. We're just playing with what we've already established, which is kind of fun. Give us some high pass resonance. Just add a little drive to emphasize that rhythm. Yeah, I don't know if it really matters too much where we put that. But that's some nice ambience. On the left side we have some more, you know, FM type tones, some bells, and then on the right we have some nice soft pads. Let's listen to these melodic elements together. What I might do here is turn the attack down. Get a little softer just so we don't have as much of that transient. And let's listen with our percussion. So as you can see, we've taken a few minimal elements, really. There are only 5 tracks in use, and we've got this pretty good pulsing pattern. Let's add a row in our song mode and have it play pattern 2, all of our steps at our typical tempo. And let's just play our song and see how it sounds with the transition. So what I think I might do here is actually just have that play through once, create a copy, and then tell it to play through once again, but with only 16 steps. So as you can see, with song mode, we've been able to contextualize what this pattern might look like in a song. And that kind of gives me an idea of how I might want to copy certain parts of the pattern to add maybe a half-speed transition before going back to that original pattern in the verse. I think that this is lacking some transition between the patterns. Although I do like the melodic changes and the rhythmic changes, I think there needs to be some suggestion for a build in terms of those transitions. That's where something like the Octatrack would really come in handy, just being able to add some effects automation using the crossfader. I hope you found this helpful and interesting, and if you did, I'd welcome you to check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/slowhaste. I have a few tiers with different perks, including lessons from me. I'm pretty familiar with the Digitakt, the Digatone, the Octatrack, OP1, basics of modular, etc. And if you have any questions about lessons or just want to chat, feel free to hit me up on Instagram @slowhaste. Stay foxy.